Let me ask you something. What if the most important wars of the next decade aren't fought with armies at all, but with alliances? What if a whole new system of power is being built right now, under our noses? A system designed to pick winners and losers before a single shot is ever fired. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this new geopolitical vision, the hexagon architecture, and the invisible siege it's creating.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about why this new kind of war is so different. Then we'll get into the specifics of this hexagon architecture, who's in it and what they're doing. We'll look at the grand strategy behind it all and the futuristic weapons they plan to use. Then we'll run a simulation of what a war in 2040 could look like. And finally, we'll zero in on what all of this means for a country caught right in the middle, Pakistan.
You have to understand, we are walking into a totally new era of global conflict. Seriously, the old rulebooks are being torn up. The very idea of what power is changing right under our feet. And this isn't some slow, gradual thing. It's a sharp break from everything we've known. This right here is the core idea you need to wrap your head around. I mean, just picture it. A war where economic corridors have more punch than tank divisions, where AI and cyber attacks completely shut down a country's power grid and banking system, and where strategic partnerships create this kind of silent chokehold. This isn't some sci-fi movie plot. This is the battlefield of the 21st century taking shape right now. While so many countries are still stuck debating yesterday's politics, a brand new global system is being built in the shadows. For nations that are literally at the crossroads of these new power blocks, the stakes, they're not just some academic debate, they're existential. The game is changing, whether you're paying attention or not. So the bottom line is this. The new battlefield is silent. It's invisible. It's a war of systems, of networks, of who you're aligned with. And for anyone left on the outside looking in, that ticking clock you hear, it's counting down to the moment you get left behind. Okay, so what does this new system actually look like? Well, it's been given a name that's meant to sound strong and interconnected, the hexagon. Back in 2026, this idea of a geometric shape was turned into a strategic plan designed to project power in a completely different way. So what exactly is the Hexagon of Alliances? It was first proposed in February 2026, and it's really important to get this distinction right. This is not another NATO. It's not a formal, signed-on-the-dotted-line treaty. It's better to think of it as a flexible, fast-moving network, a web of partnerships designed to link the entire region, from the Indo-Pacific all the way to the Mediterranean, into one powerful strategic bloc.
And this is where it gets brilliant. You can see the 6 pillars that make up its structure. Each one isn't just a member, it plays a specific role. You've got Israel as the high-tech anchor, the brains of the operation, giving the alliance an edge in intelligence and cyber. Then you have India, bringing the sheer economic scale and population, the muscle that connects everything to the Indo-Pacific. Greece and Cyprus act as the gateway to Europe, controlling crucial energy routes. The Arab nations, through the Abraham Accords, bring the money and the energy. And then partners in Africa and Asia give the whole thing strategic depth, making it hard to attack from any one angle.
So you're probably asking, where's the United States in all of this? Well, in this new vision, America isn't one of the pillars. It's the architect. It's a huge strategic shift away from putting boots on the ground and toward building a self-running network of allies. A network that, by the way, secures American interests without having to deploy a single soldier. It's a new way of leading from behind. Okay, so we've covered the what. Now let's get into the why. What's the real strategic purpose behind building something this complex, this ambitious? Well, according to the architects of this plan, the hexagon is designed to counter a two-front threat. On one side, you have what they call the radical Shia axis, which is basically Iran and its network of proxies. But on the other side, they also see a threat from an emerging radical Sunni axis, these less predictable, more scattered extremist groups that pop up in unstable regions. The hexagon is designed to contain both of these threats at the same time. But it's not just about playing defense. The real ambition here is way bigger. The end goal is to create a powerful, moderate bloc that isn't defined by religion, but by shared goals in security and economics. This bloc wants to control the world's most important trade routes, dominate in key technologies, and basically build a self-sustaining system of power that will write the rules for global security for the next 100 years. But, and this is a big but, we need a reality check here. Not everybody buys into this. You have analysts like Andreas Krieg from King's College London who argue that this might be more of a branding exercise than a real functioning alliance.
He's basically saying it's a cool name to tie together a bunch of partnerships that already exist. It's a powerful idea, for sure, but whether it can actually be pulled off is another question entirely.
So how does an idea like this actually become a reality? What are the tools, the weapons of the future that would be used to make this happen? Well, the main battlefield isn't military, it's economic. And this slide lays out the two big rivals perfectly. You have IMEC, the economic superhighway of the Hexagon, designed to link all its members together while intentionally bypassing everyone else. And then you have CPEC, the rival corridor that's absolutely central to Pakistan's entire economic future. These two projects are set on a collision course, and it's a battle for regional influence. And in this new type of war, innovation is the new ammunition. This right here shows you the incredible synergy that's at the core of the Hexagon's tech strategy. You've got Israel acting as the brain, bringing unmatched innovation in AI, cyber, and intelligence. And then you have India as the body, providing the enormous scale of its economy, its massive IT workforce, and its growing manufacturing power. You put those two together, and the goal is to create a tech bloc that can out-innovate and outproduce anyone else on the planet. And this chart just puts the whole challenge into cold, hard numbers. The economic difference is just stark. You have the massive engine of India's economy paired with the high-tech, advanced economy of Israel. In this kind of economic competition, Pakistan is seriously outmatched. And that turns a theoretical threat into a very real, very measurable problem. Okay, so all the pieces are on the board. What does a war actually look like in this new world? Let's run through a quick simulation of a hybrid war, set sometime between 2030 and 2040, just to see how this could all play out. See, the war starts quietly. From 2030 to 2032, it's just a silent buildup. The infrastructure for IMEC gets built, and the center of economic gravity just shifts. Then, by 2035, it gets ugly. It becomes an economic war. We're not just talking about competition, we're talking about weaponizing supply chains, cutting off access to crucial technologies, and deliberately creating financial crises in rival countries. From there, it moves into a full-blown cyber and tech war, with AI-driven attacks taking down banking systems, power grids, and military comms. It's only after all of that, maybe around 2038, that you might see some limited military escalation, drones, some airstrikes. But by then, the real damage is done. By 2040, the war's over, and a new world order has been set in stone around two competing blocs, all without a single major invasion. And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. For a nation like Pakistan, which is physically located right between these massive emerging blocs, this simulation isn't just an interesting forecast, it's a fire alarm. It is being squeezed from all sides, and doing nothing is a choice with potentially devastating consequences. Look, if this hexagon system really takes off and Pakistan doesn't adapt, the consequences could be incredibly severe. We're talking about deep economic isolation, as new trade routes are literally designed to make CPEC irrelevant. We're talking about immense strategic pressure from an India that's been supercharged with Israeli technology. And we're talking about diplomatic marginalization, being left out of the new cool kids club that gets to make the rules on the world stage.
So what's the playbook? Well, analysts are pointing to a 5-step strategy for survival. It all starts with a total economic reset because you can't compete globally if your house isn't in order. Then you have to upgrade CPEC, make it more modern, more transparent to attract new partners. 3, you have to pour money into your own tech sector so you don't become a digital colony of someone else. 4, you have to play a very smart balancing act. Keep your strong ties with China, but also repair and build new bridges with the Gulf states. And finally, and maybe most importantly, you need internal political stability because money is a coward. It will not go where there's chaos. And that's the final question we'll leave you with. The next wars won't start with bombs. They'll start with the quiet redrawing of maps and the silent rerouting of data streams. In this new game, the question for any nation caught in the middle is simple, and it's stark. Will you adapt and step into the arena as a player ready to shape your own future, or will you fail to act and be reduced to being just another piece on someone else's board?